Hey guys, I am back with my March wrap up. So, a lot happened in March. So my reading TBR was very ambitious and I really shouldn't have picked as many books as I did. At the time, I thought that I'd be able to read everything and everything was going good, and didn't quite work that way. So, I read 3 books. One of them is on the Hoopla app. So let me get that up for you. I think I have Hoopla on this tablet. I do. All right. So we're going to get into the books. Okay. So first up is this book called Stiff. All right, I've seen this book in, I think, 3 or 4 TBRs last year, and I really was intrigued every time because I wasn't sure I just wasn't sure because the TBRs that I watched, they weren't very clear about what exactly the book was about. But the fact that it was a corpse and a tag there kind of intrigued me because I didn't know if it was scientific or I didn't know if it was like a story. But it turns out that the book is actually both. So it just piqued my curiosity. So it's like historical, scientific, and yet a story. So it's a story that follows a girl who actually, I cannot remember if they ever... No, they do say her name several times, but I guess I can't remember the girl's name. So it's a girl who is curious about what happens to the body after the soul leaves it, or, you know, when people die. So she interviews a bunch of different people who have experience with mortuary and crime scenes and body donation to science and what goes into that, which is an array of things that go into donating your body to science. And I don't think you get to pick. I think that was the one thing that the book kept hitting on, is that you don't, when you donate your body to science, you yourself actually don't get to pick what form of science that your body is going to. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. But so that was already a spoiler, so I'm not gonna say too much more about it because I don't want to give away the book entirely. But if dead bodies and mortuary and that type of stuff is not your forte, you don't want that book, because it's told in story form, but it also has a lot of facts and things that are just very hard to hear if you are just not interested in that sort of thing. It piqued my interest because I love horror movies and horror books and all that stuff, so it just kind of piqued my interest. Like, you know, if I love watching it as entertainment, why not try to learn something about it? Maybe it, I don't know. I just thought maybe it'd be a really good book, and I actually turned out to really like the book. And I believe I have not done a Goodreads review on it yet. So I believe that I think that the book would be a 4-star book, only because I don't think it was a book that was just like, oh my goodness, I will read this again. But it is a very good book, and I'm very happy that I did pick it up to read it. But it won't be a book that I would just go and read through again for entertainment. It might be something that I would reference if I ever got into that sort of conversation with someone, which, I mean, I probably won't. I don't have friends that are interested in any of the scientific portions of mortuary and everything. Okay, so my next book The Haunting of Hill House. I cannot remember what my Goodreads review was on this, but I think it was a 3-star or 4-star. I can't remember. So I like the Haunting movie adaptation better than the book and better than the original movie adaptation and better than the TV series. Now, I do love the original movie adaptation. I love the remake, and I do love the TV series, and I actually can't wait until the second season come out. But if I had to go in an order, I would say so bad. I would say that the second movie adaptation would be number 1. The original movie would be number 2. The TV series would be number 3, and then the book. I completely understand why everyone loves this book. It is very psychologically demanding and intriguing, and all of those things that'll get you questioning, like, oh my goodness, did that really happen? Or no, or was that in her head? Or did she think that happened and it really didn't happen? Like, I'm still trying to figure out, spoiler alert, whose hand Eleanor was holding on, I think it was the second or third night. Like, whose hand was it? Whose hand was it? Okay. But it was so slow. But if you think about the time period that this was written in, like, of course it was slow. And if you think about the movies you watch, of course things start off slow. But then the closer I got to the end of the book, I'm like, okay, so when is the big thing gonna happen? And I guess the error I made, which I very seldomly make, but I do make, is that I watched those movies before I read the book. Another thing is that my error was me not even knowing that there was a book to those movies. I didn't find out that there was a book to those movies until like 2-3 years ago. And I don't know why I didn't know. I just didn't know. So my error, excuse me. My error was in watching those film adaptations and the TV series before I read the book, and not just the adaptations that were specifically to the books, but other movies that were born, that were kind of dedicated to the book, like what was it? The House on Haunted Hill. There were like 2 adaptations of that. And, you know, other various different types of movies. Because I believe 13 Ghosts was also kind of a tribute to this. But I could be wrong. But I think it is. Could be. But yeah, so really good book. Very entertaining. Had I read this first, this would have probably gotten a 4 stars. But my expectations for this book come from the fact that I'd watched the movies first. If I could undo that, then it would probably be different, but I can't. So it is what it is. So very good book. I do recommend this book to people. Definitely if you love psychological thrillers, because a lot of people enjoy Shirley Jackson and a lot of her methods in her writing and the events that take place in her writing. You can see throughout history, like, this and other books for people that she inspired. So yes, good book. I will reread this book again probably. I think I want to wait a couple of years before I watch any more of the movie adaptations so that I can read this book again and then watch the movies. And I don't know. That's probably not gonna happen either, because season 2 of The Haunting of Hill House is coming out, so I don't know. Anywho, good book. This, Children of Virtue and Vengeance, is the 3rd book that I was able to get to. And I did end up finishing this book sort of, kind of the beginning of this month, April. But I read the majority of the book in March, so this was part of my March TBR. I also listened to the audio from the St. Louis County Public Library because I got the Overdrive app. So I kind of did both. And the reason I did both is because I believe her name is Bonnie. I can't think of it right now, but I think her name is Bonnie something. She did the narration for this book, and I enjoy her narrations. Sorry about that lapse. My dogs are going crazy. But anyway, I enjoyed her, Bonnie's narration to this book and to The Children of Blood and Bone. I don't know, this book is just so good. This book, I did do a Goodreads review, and I believe my Goodreads review was a 5-star review, just like it was with the first one, because everything about this book kept me on the edge, like everything about it. The sole fact that these are teenagers, like 18, 19, probably a little bit younger teenagers that are doing all of this, like they are full-grown adults, is what really kept me intrigued. Because there were just a lot of reviews that I read, and they were like, oh my goodness, they're making the same mistakes over and over again. Yes, they're making the same mistakes over and over again because they are teenagers. Adults make the same mistakes over and over again. Is it annoying? Absolutely. But that's what makes them them. And you can see the growth in each one of the characters more so in this book than you did the first one. I can't remember what the time lapse was between the first one and the second one, like how many moons the time lapse was, but there was a time lapse, and you can see the growth, and you can see them fighting within their own minds and with each other on, you know, their thoughts and how to proceed forward with things. And it's just amazing relationships, crazy hardships, crazy amazing adventures. But I can tell you one thing, the ending of this book teed me off like nobody's business. And I told my husband, I said, I feel like I pick my books like I pick my scary movies, where the cliffhanger just leaves me like, are you serious? Is that it? Like, give me something else. That's how this was. I think I would have been fine had I not read the epilogue. But of course I had to read the epilogue. And the epilogue only dug the cliffhanger, like, in my heart that much more deeper. Because I'm just like, oh my goodness. What, oh, why? Why? That's all I want to know is why. But I think this book is amazing. I think the first book is amazing. I probably will not do any separate, what do they call it? Like book reviews on this, because it would be a spoiler, and I don't want to spoil this for anyone who hasn't read it. So maybe if I do a reread in like a year or two, then I can give spoilers, because this book was just only released December. So there's still quite a few people in the world that has not, you know, read this, and I know there's going to not be as many people that watch this review, but for those that are watching this review, I don't want to give it away. All I can tell you is that you need to read this book, and if I was 18 or 19 years old and this book was out, this book would have been amazing for me as a younger person, because it's someone who is my ethnicity as far as being Black that is represented in this book. You know, everything, and the symbolism between the oppression of the times in the book and the oppression that goes on within our world now. It's so crazy. But it does take you on an adventure, and it does get you, you know, a little break in your brain from all that's going on now. So I would definitely recommend everyone read this book, because it's amazing. And look how beautiful that cover is. Get you some of that. Look how beautiful that cover is. It's awesome. So, but those are the 3 books that I read in March. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and like and subscribe to my channel if you are not already subscribed. Bye, until next time.